thank you all for actually doing such innovative courses and really attracting the architects. You helped attract the architects to the site to want to take these credits. As I mentioned before, we actually received an award of our own this year. I know we're here to celebrate yours, but again, I mentioned that we actually won the Grand Neal Award. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but that's the American Business Press's great award in terms of business-to-business journalism. And we actually won a number of awards. We won for integrated media for our September 11th issue. And in addition to that, Green Source and ENR also won a number of awards. So it's really a testimony across the board to all of our media, and I thought that this would be a good place to share that with all of you because your contribution helps to inspire some of the things that our editors do. So we're very excited about that. Now I'd like to introduce our jurors, and they will come up on stage after I introduce them so that we kind of bring the group in. This year we had a total of 10 voting jurors and a final selection committee of 6, 4 of whom are here with us today. Before I introduce our jurors by name, I'd like to share with you a quote I recently read from Ed McCabe, one of the original advertising business madmen. McCabe, founder of Scally, McCabe and Sloves, was interviewed by the New York Times around the time of the most recent season of the Mad Men kickoff. McCabe said, "Weak advertising tells people what you want them to know. Strong advertising gets people to conclude what you want them to know. You will see that strength in the winners here today. And we can be confident that you'll see that strength because the jury is comprised of your target audience. There are no madmen on this jury, no creative directors from Sterling Cooper, Draper, Price, and our winners were not selected at a 3-martini lunch. What would Don Draper think of our competition here? I don't know. But I do know that the audience of these advertisers is educated, design-oriented, sensitive, and sophisticated. The architects are independent, and they draw their own conclusions. The winning advertisements that this jury has selected inform and inspire the audience to make up their own minds. So you could tell me what matters more. Our first juror is Bill Chilton, FAIA, RIBA, principal at Picard Chilton in New Haven, Connecticut, a large firm which serves as the design architect for major corporate and institutional projects worldwide. Bill has directed many large corporate projects and institutional projects, including currently the ExxonMobil office complex in Houston, Texas, which is currently under design, and the soon-to-open Eaton Corporation headquarters in Cleveland, Ohio, the Four Seasons Palace in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency headquarters near Washington, D.C. Prior to the founding of Picard Chilton, he was Ellerbe Beckett's president of architecture and collaborated on such notable buildings as the Science Museum of Minnesota, Kingdom Center in Riyadh, and Saudi Arabia. Bill received his Bachelor of Arts in Architecture from Iowa State and Masters of Architecture from the University of Minnesota. In addition to designing, he is actively involved in teaching and serving in the spring as professor in practice of the University of Minnesota College of Design. He currently serves on the advisory board of the College of Design and University of Minnesota and was elected to the AIA College of Fellows in 2010. Bill, would you like to join us up on stage? Oops, okay. Our next juror is Suman Sorg, FAIA. Suman established her practice here in 1986 and has since become one of the largest woman-owned architecture firms in the United States. Under Suman's leadership, the firm has amassed an extensive international portfolio of residential, commercial, educational, institutional, and civic projects. She began her studies at the School of Planning and Architecture in New Delhi, India, completed her Bachelor of Architecture at Howard University, and went on to study Design and Historic Preservation at Cornell. Suman's work has been recognized with numerous awards, including 23 AIA National and Washington DC, National Awards and the Washington, D.C. and Potomac Valley chapters. Suman is also a peer reviewer for the GSA Design Excellence Program. Suman, would you like to join us on stage, please? Our next juror is David Lewis. David is a founding principal of LTL Architects in New York City, a design-intensive firm that engages a diverse range of work, from large-scale academic and cultural buildings to interiors and speculative research projects. David is an architectural record design vanguard firm and was named as such in 2000, one of the first. LTL's research into the means by which architecture can embrace environmental questions has been featured in the Museum of Modern Art in the exhibition Rising Currents, New York's Waterfront in 2010. Recent awards include a 2012, this year's, AIA New York Design Merit for the project Water's Proving Ground. David holds a Master's of Architecture from Princeton and a Master of Arts in the History of Architecture and Urbanism from Cornell. He's an associate professor at Parsons, the New School of Design, where he has directed the Design Workshop. He's also taught at Cornell, the University of Pennsylvania, Ohio State, and serves as a founding member of the advisory board of the School of Architecture at the University of Limerick, Ireland. Who else to have us educate us on the value of advertising than a well-rounded professor such as David? Please join us up on stage. Thank you. Our next juror is Nicole Dasso, AIA Lead AP, and is Associate Director at Skidmore, Owings & Merrill in New York City. After receiving her Bachelor's of Architecture at Syracuse University, Nicole went on to to work in New York at large corporate office tower projects such as 2 Broadway, Bear Stearns headquarters, 250 West 55th Street, and 7 World Trade Center. If that's not impressive enough, currently, Nicole is a senior technical architect at 1 World Trade Center, the largest building in the United States. Nicole was recently awarded inclusion in Crane's 40 Under 40 class of 2012. Her contributions to rebuilding the World Trade Center site has also earned her honors from the Professional Women in Construction in 2006. Nicole, would you like to join us on stage? Thank you. I'd like to introduce 2 other jurors. One actually had to leave to receive an award that were part of the selection committee that are not here with us today. Jennifer Yost, AIA Lead AP, is a principal with VJAA in Minneapolis. This year's winner of the AIA Firm Award, which is what she's had to leave to receive because they actually have the program this morning. Somehow they didn't time that with us. I'm not sure why they didn't check with us first. Jennifer was educated at the University of Minnesota. She has practiced with VJA since 1997 and has collaborated on the design of all the firm's projects over the past 15 years. Projects on the boards include the New Walker Library in Minneapolis, the Welland International Flatwater Center for the Toronto 2015 Pan Am Games. She also teaches graduate level design as the adjunct professor at the University of Minnesota and has lectured at more than a dozen universities. And Andre Kokoski, AIA Lead AP, is a Manhattan-based architect who was unable to join us this morning, whose firm is committed to the artistry and innovation regardless of budget, genre, or challenge. Prior to founding his firm, Andre trained with the offices of I.M. Pei, Richard Meyer, and Peter Eisenman. The firm is featured in the New York Dozen Gen X Architects, a book that acknowledges New York's top firms in the younger generation of architects today. This young firm has completed more than 100 noteworthy public and cultural projects, including 3 venues at the Guggenheim Museum, the distinguished resorts, restaurants, hotels, and luxury apartments. And finally, we're happy to welcome a special guest, Melissa Duffy, AIA Lead AP and Principal and Managing Director of the San Francisco Office of Studios Architecture. During her tenure, Melissa has led management and design efforts for large, complex projects and multi-layered client and consultant teams. She's a member of Studios Project Management, Standards and Steering Committee, as well as a driving force behind the firm's mentorship program, supporting young architects and interns to develop and achieve their professional goals. She has worked on such projects at San Francisco's Foundry Square, Evergreen Library, Barclays Global Institutional Investments, and the Life Sciences Building renovation at UCLA. Melissa is a 3-time juror, and in fact, since she was a juror, she has become a full principal at Studios Architecture firm, which is unbelievably impressive at such a young age, and having been such an important part of the process, we thought that she was coming to the AIA convention. We thought it would be nice to have Melissa come in and join our panel and add some of her point of view. So please join us on stage, and thank you for joining us. As I read these bios, I have to say, is this an unbelievably impressive jury? These people gave all of your advertisements an amazing amount of undivided attention. So I'd like to give them a round of applause and thank you, because my goodness, this is great. And I will tell you that a number of them have said to me that since they've looked at some of these ads more closely as they were going through this process, they've actually already started using some of the products. So it's a nice byproduct of entering the program, but what a group.